So what's been our journey so far? So this firm started in 2007. So we had the Hudson Gavin and the Martin come out from the large sort of law firms during the GFC. So it wasn't exactly the best time to do this. And because they set up very quickly with a small number of staff, so I think they had about 8 people altogether, it was done very quickly. And so there was, we were pretty much a startup, and there was very limited technology planning. You know, we needed a practice management system, we needed a document management system. The cloud was all kind of still quite new, especially for law firms back in 2007. So it was pretty much just, let's do what we need to do to get this firm up and running. And technology updates were done on an ad hoc basis. So we had all the equipment, server equipment in a back room in our old offices in Key Street. So in around 2013, when I became a partner, they said, "Hey, Ed, you can have the technology role or the CTO role at work," which is something that I love doing because my background is in technology. I spent a good part of my life trying to develop systems, but then saw the light and became a lawyer. And so I took over in 2013, and sort of we had, not only was I sort of looking after the technology systems, but I was also the kind of like the help desk as well, which is great when you're also trying to do the day job. But in 2016, we had a couple of issues. The first one was we had pretty much sweated our physical IT server hardware. Our servers were a little bit unreliable. We were having outages which would take half a day to kind of recover from, and obviously that doesn't help when we're trying to get our client work done. Essentially, no one could do any work, and it became quite a big issue. And so we decided to look at new solutions. I was looking at buying new hardware and software, and that was going to cost around $120,000 just for the implementation costs and the actual hardware. But I sort of knew that I'd be in the same situation in 5 years' time. I'd have to replace end-of-life hardware and spend the same amount of money on hardware and software again. And on top of that, we've got the ongoing costs, right? And so the ongoing costs to run this thing were about $5,500 per month. So I think by the time I worked it out in terms of, if I sweat the hardware over, say, 4 years, paying around about $8,500 a month in terms of equipment and support and software licenses and all that kind of stuff. So I thought there must be a better way. And so what I did was I sort of looked into a cloud solution, and that was part of the start of our tech transformation. But there was also another big driver, and that was in 2020, like this year, we knew that our lease was up in our Britomart offices, and we kind of thought, well, we've got to start doing something about, are we going to stay where we are or are we going to move? And so we made the decision that if we're going to move, we're going to have to be able to basically pick up our current systems and move somewhere else. And the best solution for that was like a cloud solution. And we've also got a changing landscape of work as well. So we've got flexible working arrangements that a lot of staff are looking for, and even us as partners, like a lot of us have young children, so being able to sort of work from home, work remotely is quite useful. But also we've got generation, I'm Generation X. We've got Gen Y, Gen Z, millennials, who are sort of digital natives and who are always kind of connected. And so they are looking at new ways, or different ways of working for the better. So, like I said, in 2016, I made that conscious decision to start putting a system in place which would give us the modern office environment for when we do our move. So this year we moved into the Tower building in CBD. It will also allow us to have flexible working and minimise IT downtime. So our systems are all up. We don't have to worry about our systems falling over and calling our IT support guys to come in and fix whatever they have to fix. It also enabled fully outsourced IT support. So when the system is down in our old building, I would basically have to run into the server room and do the reboot or try and do something to make the thing work again. Whereas with a solution in the cloud, I can go into our Azure manager and basically reset servers if I need to, although I sort of leave that to our IT providers just in case I do something wrong, although I kind of think I know what I'm doing. The other thing was it was great because we were able to minimize our server room footprint. And so obviously office space here in the CBD pre-COVID was quite expensive. And so to get rid of our server room was fantastic, although office space now is probably quite cheap. And we also wanted to become a less paper office. We wouldn't be able to become a paperless office because we still have to work with paper. So we've got our notes here on paper, but we do strive to be less paper, and also we're also carbon zero certified, so we need to maintain that. But also, one of our main concerns was to ensure that we could have like a good disaster recovery system in place for business continuity. In 2011, when the Christchurch earthquakes hit, a lot of firms, a lot of businesses weren't able to access the red zone. So we were concerned around things like, if there was an earthquake here or a fire or a theft or something like that, we needed to be able to pick up and run, keep running the firm. But probably the most important thing is that it had to be a really simple solution. We had to access everything anywhere, and it had to be developed with the user in mind. Now, my view on these things is there's no point putting in all the fancy gadgets and tech and all that kind of stuff if no one is going to use it. And it was really important that we got a group of people together to sit down in a room to basically work out, what is it that you want. So we had our support staff, we had the juniors, we had seniors, seniors and senior associates and partners sort of in the room trying to work out, well, how do you want to use the system? What do we want to do? So it might have taken a little bit longer, but at least we kind of got requirements. And Lisa and I have worked in some large law firms where you kind of handed the IT system and they say, well, basically, here it is. But a lot of the times it's not fit for purpose because, we know what we do like and don't like about our systems. And so to be able to kind of, with a clean slate build what we wanted was actually I thought quite cool.
And a bit of a silver lining with COVID as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With COVID, we obviously had a roadmap to basically put all these systems in place. But with COVID sort of affecting us all, we kind of had these things in place with remote working. It was pretty stressful because we kind of hadn't really tested it as well as we could have, but like no one knew during COVID, right? During lockdown, it was just one of those things. So yeah, our solution was basically move everything into the cloud. So Lisa's going to talk to you a little bit about what cloud computing is.